Hello there folks, I'm Dan Brown from a sort of interestinglife.com. You're joining me on board good old narrowboat Tilly, and today you're joining me for one of the random stories that I like to pluck out of my younger years. And today's going to be a slightly shorter story to some of the 20-minute long epics that I've shared in the past. So hopefully this will be more to some people's tastes, and well, I suppose we'll dive straight in. So, to set the scene, this happened around the year 2000, that sort of era. I think I was about 13. Basically, I was at the point of my life that the new Star Wars films had just come out, Pokemon was still absolutely massive, and you can imagine that I was in the childhood sort of nerd phase in absolute heaven with all of these amazing things. And I'd just got my Game Boy, which was the first ever console of any description that I'd actually had as like my own thing. And it was like, wow, Pokemon, this is amazing. And really, I'm trying to build this image of what was basically the ultimate meek, sort of shy, quiet, feeble, nerdy child, and that really was me as the perfect personification of that stereotype back then, and I suppose what some people would also describe me as now. So basically, you've got to think of this meek, sort of cowering little figure when I tell this story, and that character being in this scenario. And I'm starting to worry already that this might be one of those stories that you really had to be there to really enjoy it properly. So, I suppose now that we've set the Dan Brown character up, the actual scenario and setting that this takes place in is in that era. My nan and granddad's house was literally a 2-minute walk from my mum and dad's house. So to go between the two, I'm literally talking it would take less than 2 minutes. And being a kid, for whatever reason, I decided to just start running between the two whenever I went from one to the other as fast as I possibly could and timing it. So you can imagine that leads me to be running like an absolute lunatic as fast as I possibly can. And there's a road in between just by my nan and granddad's house. So if I get to that and then there'd be a car there, it'd be like, oh no, it's a disaster, it's ruined me time, I've had to wait. And I'd literally be doing this run from one place to the other in like 40 seconds or something ridiculous like that. So that's what one day, after I'd been dropped off by my friend's mum back at my mum's house, after going to the cinema, again, that's a detail that doesn't really need to be told. I'm not sure what film it was. Maybe Chicken Run or something like that. I've no idea. I'll look it up. Look up what year that was released and see. Maybe it was that. Anyway, completely unrelated details. So I'm at my mum's house, and for some reason I'm like, oh, I'm going over the road, as it's always known as over the road, because it is literally over the road. So, in my usual way, I'm like, right, gonna do this as fast as possible. Must have checked me watch, start the timer, or having a watch with a stopwatch on it. Amazing technology back in the day. So I run as fast as I possibly can to get across the road and get into their garden. And then when I'm in their garden, I noticed that my granddad's in there at the top end and he hasn't seen me. So I was like, right, I'm going to sneak up on him here and just make him jump. Again, childhood, just doing what you do. Or maybe what only I did. So then I'm there walking down the path nice and slowly and silently, and my cover is blown when immediately a police siren blares out right next to the garden and then sort of stops right by the garden. So of course my granddad just looks up just because it sort of gives you that shock. I had that sort of, whoa, flipping heck, where did that come from? The shock as well. And then of course my granddad then looks up and sees me, and that's like my sneaking up on him blown. But then what neither of us expected, and what he then sees, is suddenly this police car stop right outside their gate, and then a policeman jump out, run through the gate, and then grab me in this, I've always remembered this absolutely iron grip that he had on my shoulders. And of course, my granddad's there, like, completely taken aback. I'm there like, oh, what's happening? And as I say, being this sort of cowardly, scared child at the best of times, even more so when randomly the police have just jumped out and grabbed you. So, of course, at this point, it's just total confusion. The policeman's going, where were you running from? And I'm like, from the house over there. And then he's like, where were you running from? And at this point, it's already like, oh no, I don't like this. I'm like, oh, from the house over there. And it must have been on that point of almost tears and having that crackly voice, I'm quite sure. Of, oh, what's happening? And of course, he then asks me again, I'm like, from the house over there. And there's not much that you can do when a policeman's just saying that to you over and over again. So my granddad starts walking up and he's like, you take your hands off him, he hasn't done anything wrong. And at this point, I'll point out, my nan and granddad will be watching this video, so I've got to be careful exactly how I describe this, but I don't think anybody will take any offence to say that as he was out in the garden doing some gardening, he was, first of all sort of covered in mud and soil and that sort of stuff, but wearing obviously clothes suitable for just going out and getting muddy and so on. So I might describe this situation, and I'm sure that this will be brought up to me in the future at my nan and granddad's house, as he may have possibly been looking like he was wearing scarecrow clothes as he's approaching me and this policeman, telling him to let me go. And this policeman's not like doing or saying anything other than constantly asking me where I was running from. So it was just really bizarre. At this point, my nan is watching all this unfold, and this is all taking place in literally like a matter of moments, of course. My nan is watching this unfold from inside the kitchen, who then emerges, starts walking down the path, wearing her pinny, and again, I'm probably going to hear about this next time I'm at my nan and granddad's house, but for anybody who's familiar with the British comedy On the Buses, just envision a sort of olive oil character, wearing a pinny, just wandering down here. So you've got me granddad in his scarecrow clothes and me nan in a proper old style pinny, walking down the path to my rescue. Me, like, oh, I was just running from your house, what's happening? At this point, as my nan's walking down here, all that she needs is like to finally add that finishing touch to the sitcom event is if she'd have come out wearing a pinny, maybe put some hair curlers in would have been perfect, but ideally, if she'd have come out holding a rolling pin, maybe battering it into her hand as a classic sort of thing. But basically, it's this sort of bizarre scenario now, and at this point, after me and my granddad like protesting me innocence, the fact that my nan just walks out completely just normal, strolls down, I don't think she even said a word, but this second policeman is, I don't know where exactly he is, but he's out of the car and now in the garden, and he sees my nan, recognises her, and then sort of realises and puts everything together in his head of like, yeah, no, you, our grandson lives over there. And obviously realises that I have just run from my house and haven't done anything wrong at this point, which we have still not had explained to us why I've been accosted on their pathway. The second policeman waves to the one who's got hold of me. He's like, oh, leave it, and like waves him off. And it's just this bizarre moment of me and my granddad couldn't do anything, but my nan, merely by walking outside, it's been like something from The Godfather sort of thing. It's like, my nan's turned up, and then the police like, we're getting out of here. Oh, don't want any trouble, mate. And it's that sort of style thing. So then, and this was something, there's three things that we took away from this. Well, the first thing I took away was just how much the iron grip was an iron grip on my shoulders. There was no way I was running away from that. But after he let go, it sort of was that thing of like, whoa, flipping heck, yeah. As soon as the pressure's gone, you realise just how solid the grip was. It's like, relax. Then, of course, I was extremely relieved. But then, this is the bizarre thing of, one of the things that was always noted was there was absolutely no apology, not even the passing, oh, sorry about that, mate, oh, sorry about that, wrong person. There was literally nothing whatsoever, no acknowledgement that they had just burst into my nan and granddad's garden and tried to take me away. So then, the second chap, the first bloke walks off without a word, because obviously it's pretty embarrassing for him, who's been there thinking, well, as I'll now explain. The other chap then goes, oh, we're after some shoplifters in town. And that was pretty much it. That's pretty much all he said before they disappeared. And it was noted at the time of like, the sort of oh, let's get out of here, we've made an error here. But it was just that bizarre thing. There's like absolutely no apology or acknowledgement of the bizarre like intrusion. But then the weird thing was that they're apparently looking for these shoplifters. That seeing me run across the road, you might think, oh yeah, what's he running from? Oh, is he a shoplifter? Had it not been for the fact that I would have to have been extremely fit to have first of all run that distance and still be running at well, from the actual shops in town. But secondly, the more bizarre thing in this story is the fact that I was actually running towards town. So it wasn't even as if I was running away from the direction of the shops. It was as if I was running, if I hadn't have been going into my nan and granddad's house, it was as if I was running in towards town itself. So those are the things that have always sort of stayed with us, of like, what on earth was all that about? But yeah, perhaps again, it was a story that you needed to be there to really get the best out of. But it's just one of those moments that's always gone down of like, oh yeah, remember that time when the police grabbed you? And it was, I mean, you can imagine for me, it was just absolutely terrifying because, like you say, I was scared of everything as I still am these days. But to suddenly have the police, well, you're in like somewhere that's, like I say in a lot of these videos, me nan and granddad's house where I grew up and spent all of this time over the holidays, and suddenly it's like the least safe place in the world and there's some police trying to take me away without so much of an explanation of what I meant to have done. The thing that was always the scary part as well on that was if they had caught me just before I got into their house. So say for example, if I was just out of the sight and the hedgerow or whatever was between me being carted away by the police and my nan, then I literally would have had no say and no possible sort of get out. And it's like they were there literally ready to take me away. So thank goodness I managed to run so fast that I made it into their house. But yeah, like I say, just a random story that I thought I'd share with you. Maybe you've enjoyed it, maybe you haven't. I can only apologise if not. So then, time to wrap this video up, I suppose. If you've watched this video and enjoyed it, then please don't feel like you've got to continue to watch about the next 25 minutes as I go through all the things that I have to plug these days. But here goes. Right. Firstly, feel free to check out my other videos for loads of boaty stuff and all sorts of things from the canal and outdoors, kayaking, biking, all the rest of it, as well as these videos thrown in every once in a while. Feel free, of course, to subscribe and all that sort of stuff. Add me personally on Facebook and Twitter, and like the Facebook page if you want to see loads of boaty pictures and canal scenery and narrowboat life updates and so on. Next thing, please do consider checking out my books available for the Kindle. They're all nice and short, and there's the 3 main ones about life afloat, so search Amazon for The Narrowboat Lad or find the links in the description to them below. Now on to the audiobook. Now, there's people who think this is some sort of scam when I say it, but you can, if you haven't got an Audible account, you can literally sign up to Audible on a free trial and download my book for absolutely nothing, cancel your subscription and keep the book that you've downloaded for free. So please do check that out if you want. You can literally get my book for free. So please do consider having a look. Again, link in the description below, but just search Audible for The Narrowboat Lad. Finally, I suppose I'll throw in the Patreon plug as well for anybody who does wish to support me. I know this video is hardly likely to inspire you to go, oh, you know what, that might be worth $1. Go on then. But basically, if you support me over on Patreon for anything from $1 a month, then you get access to my 1,000 word plus monthly blog post, and you can read the previous entries and so on. So please do have a look there if you do want to support me. And I suppose on that note, I will finally say thank you very much for watching. Thanks for just everything as usual and spending this much time watching these videos if you've watched all the way to this point. And of course, until the next time, keep it boat worthy, and of course, farewell.